Hello, good morning. My name is Arturo Reda Silva, and together with Dr. Athena Trakadas and Dr. Dolores Elkin, we are going to talk about integrating underwater cultural heritage into ocean data, unlocking historical insights for sustainable ocean management. Underwater cultural heritage, as defined by the UNESCO 2000 Convention on the Protection of Underwater Cultural Heritage, are all traces of human existence having a cultural, historical, or archaeological character which have been partially or totally underwater, periodically or continuously for at least 100 years. That's the Article 1 of the Convention, a convention that has been ratified by around 80 countries and is becoming the standard practice in the preservation of underwater heritage worldwide. This convention also creates particular guidelines for underwater archaeologists and scientists working on cultural heritage remains that are found in submerged environments. Sites of this type can be, for instance, submerged settlements, submerged prehistorical landscape, shipwrecks, of course, and their cargoes, different fish traps, different old coastlines, caves and sacrificial remains, etc., etc. We have around a huge variety of different type of information of sites that can give us quite a lot of indicators to tell us about the past human relations with the marine environment, not only about past historical behavior, but at the same time the cumulative impact of anthropogenic activities over the marine environment. For instance, we have the link between existing underwater cultural heritage and the environment where they are found. Submerged natural and cultural resources are completely inseparable from the landscape where they are found, and they sometimes behave as a biodiversity hubs in places where climate change is affecting drastically all the different fauna and flora which exist in the seabed. We found how many different shipwrecks and other cultural assets have become over time places where biodiversity thrives. In the picture we have this piece of cannon of artillery from the site where the Cañones in Mexico, where you can see, the different corals around it. So, studying it in profound, in depth, all this can tell us a bit much more about these spaces and the relation between the physical remains that we have and submerged and the environment. Another, point that is important to make is about also the potential risk that many of these shipwrecks and underwater heritage can pose to the environment, and why it's necessary to understand heritage and heritage preservation in order to preserve the ocean. There's a project called Potentially Polluting Wrecks, which is looking into more than 8,500 wrecks that are found globally, with millions of tons of oil inside them. As they corrode, they represent a tremendous threat to the ocean and the environment in general. Many of these wrecks have cultural significance and are even protected by national and international legislation. So on one side they are protected and they should be preserved, but on the other side, as they corrode, they can present an important threat to the environment. So more dialogue is necessary between all the cultural and natural sectors in order to preserve environment and the cultural significance. At the same time, heritage, marine heritage and water heritage has much more information apart from the tangible aspects of it. Heritage, which is the way we deal with the past in the present, and also traditional knowledge in many coastal and indigenous communities, coastal, local and indigenous communities around the world, contains a huge amount of data itself on environmental change, coastal dynamics, and the way people have been dealing with the ocean. Different projects around the world are dealing with that traditional cultural and ecological knowledge that are adding and complementing traditional science and traditional marine science, and giving us a different perspective on and different type of indicators and data on the way we measure the coast. That's why it's one of the most important aspects is to introduce that data into ocean science. For that, together with my colleague, Dr. Athena Trakadas, and also with Dolores Elkin as a member, we are piloting and leading the NGO Ocean Decade Heritage Network, which is an endorsed and recognized program of the decade, which we have specific aims of raising awareness in the cultural heritage community about the decade, but also we coordinate a targeted global response from the community to improve the integration of cultural heritage within marine science. We understand that ocean heritage is a driver for sustainable development within the decade itself. So we try to create a platform for marine scientists and heritage professionals and communities to talk and discuss and integrate the importance of heritage. I welcome you to visit the website. One of the main programs of the Ocean Decade Heritage Network is the Cultural Heritage Framework Program, which has the mission to transform ocean protection by incorporating cultural heritage into ocean science. This is where CHFP, which is the Cultural Heritage Framework Program, comes in. It's an official decade action. And it's the only decade action which directly engages with ocean heritage. So it's where ODHM works within the world of advocacy and policy. CHFP works specifically to mobilize research and work into action and to share this work across a global network of marine science stakeholders. So it guides different projects towards reaching other networks as well to incorporate cultural heritage into marine science. There are many different projects endorsed. I mean, here you only have a huge variety, and there's no time to go on all of them. There are many of them dealing with different aspects where heritage is key, from climate change to social well-being, to marine biodiversity, to marine protected areas coordinated by indigenous communities, etc., etc. One I wanted to bring today here is the project in which I've been involved, more pilot by the University of Edinburgh and Dr. Georgia Hurley. It's called Linking Nature and Culture on the Island of Mozambique. The island of Mozambique, many of you will know, is a UNESCO World Heritage Site with an amazing architecture and, there's astonishing rate of preservation of that architecture as well, but with also a huge marine ecosystem around which hasn't been involved so much in that World Heritage protection. So the project looked into integrating biocultural heritage into the proposed marine protected area plans for the Mozambique island for the equitable management of the natural environment, the marine cultural heritage, and also the coastal community. This is the area, this is the ecosystem to where the Mozambique island is found right in the middle, but is all a web and a network of different layers of cultural environmental networks that link all the Bay of Musril, in which different anthropogenic activities have been happening for millennia. Our work tried to analyze the shipwrecks. That there are more than 27 shipwrecks around the area that are telling us particularly all the history of the area, but also many of them they are working as a biodiversity hubs as well. We also analyze the different mangrove areas as well, the mangrove because of the different uses that the different populations around have been using it historical as well, and the different level of activities, and as well the different coral reefs and their health today, specifically with the different environmental changes happening in the area and how they're related to each other. There's not time so much to go into details on that project, but it's one of the many different projects in which we are counting marine cultural heritage into all the importance of the research. We are talking about different environmental data, talking about biological data and heritage and cultural data, putting that all together to create specific recommendations and solutions and of the understanding of the marine environment in that area of the livelihoods and potential changes towards sustainable development. So what I wanted to do with this presentation is particularly understanding, stating that marine cultural heritage in the form as well of traditional knowledge and livelihoods can act as indicators of environmental and social change in marine environments. On the tangible aspect of it, the submerged archaeological sites, they act as well as hubs for biodiversity and provide data that is essential to drive different initiatives towards ocean sustainability and meeting the requirements and challenges of the ocean decade. At the same time, there are also more than 8,000 potential polluting breaks in the waters of our planet that have cultural significance, and they need to be dealt with only with dialogue between natural and cultural experts at the same time as policymakers, and that dialogue is needed and is only possible when data is on the table. And also the heritage is the core repository of human behavior with the marine environment. These are the first and the main takeaways, and I'll be very happy to respond to your questions if needed. Thank you very much for your attention.